It's human nature, isn't it, to sometimes tell a little white lie to protect someone's feelings, or to say you liked a gift when you didn't like it. And it's something we've all done. But the subject of today's video is about pathological lying, and if it's shown up in a relationship or an ex-relationship, and has been a feature of a relationship for you, and you've been on the receiving end of this kind of behaviour. So it's a bit of a tough video from some perspective, but hopefully if you can stick to the end, you will feel a little bit more empowered about why it's happened and what to do to prevent it from appearing in future relationships. Because let's face it, we don't want history to repeat itself, do we? Especially something on this magnitude. So I think you've found the right video you're looking for. You're going to get some of the support that you need with it, and let's get started. So hello there, my name's Sarah Day. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist and transformational coach, and I help aspirational women to get their amazing, beautiful lives back after divorce and help them date confidently as well. So at the beginning of this video, I said, you know, you were going to be able to get some kind of closure on the situation if this has been a feature of a relationship that you've had with an ex-spouse or partner, and it's just bothered you so much that it's like, how did it happen to me? Well, we're going to break down some of those issues, and but first we're going to look at, you know, what is pathological lying, because there's lots of terms for it: compulsive lying, habitual lying, and it happened to me in throughout my marriage of 2 decades, and I'm sort of coming from that perspective as well, that this is something I've been through and grown through, and I want you to have, although it can be a little bit depressing, so I want you to hold on to some hope that you can get free from this, and it showed up for you for a reason. So we're going to get to that towards the end of the video. So the first thing is, you know, what is pathological lying? Because it's different to telling those little white lies that's sort of like a bit more human nature, isn't it? Not to hurt someone's feelings. But pathological lying or compulsive lying is where somebody feels that the truth doesn't serve them, and that they have to create either some kind of fantasy image or something like that. It's compulsive lying, where there's no real reason for the lie. And some of the lies might seem really fantastical and crazy, so you kind of get that kind of lying. There are reasons why people do this, by the way, and I'm not going to go into all the details for that in this video, because I'm more interested in you. I'm more interested in you getting your life back, but we do have to cover some of this basic understanding. So the other thing is pathological lying. Now this is something that I experienced both, but mostly it was pathological lying. And a pathological liar, from my own perspective, is someone who can lie convincingly, and because when we tell a lie, we feel it in our body and we give away telltale signals. It doesn't feel right. We put ourselves under stress, basically, so our body will show signs of stress when we're telling a lie. But a pathological liar isn't wired like that. They can lie very convincingly, and there's no sign of any sort of body stress, so the usual giveaways are not there. So the eye blinking, or the, you know, the breathing, or the, you know, it's not there, because they have really no conscience. They don't feel bad about doing it. It feels completely okay to them, and it's serving a purpose. And in terms of pathological lying, it's part of the toolkit, a manipulator or player's toolkit. It goes together with lots of other unpleasant features, but it's basically how they operate. And if you've been married to one, you'll know exactly what I mean. And maybe you didn't catch them out in a lie straight away. Maybe I caught mine in a bit of a scam, and this is how it all began to unravel when I realised what was happening. And it's if this has happened to you, my heart goes out to you, because it's devastating to realise that you've kind of been duped in this way. And the more clever they are, the more convincing they are, the more convincing the dupe. So like I say, mine lasted for 2 decades. But there is light at the end of the tunnel, so please don't give up hope. Stick with the video and you will feel better very shortly, and you'll have some direction for your healing as well to get over this so it never happens again. Okay, so we understand that pathological or compulsive lying is it doesn't seem quite believable, and there's really no reason for this person to lie. You may have experienced that as well. And again, this is, a feature of a person who feels they have to lie for whatever. And there are reasons why people do this. It's because they have very low self-esteem. The truth doesn't serve them. Quite often they are very negative people who have very fragile egos, and the ego is like a false self. So in a way, their self-identity is quite fake and very shallow, because at their core they don't feel good about themselves at all. So the lie is something that serves them. And the whole life is basically a lie, because they're not in their true authentic self. So the most important question is not why does somebody lie like this, and I just need to flag something up here as well. There's nothing you can do about this. So you may have invested a lot of time with this person. For me, it was 2 decades. I'd raised a family with this person, and it's utterly devastating to realise what's been happening in the relationship that you were completely unaware of. But there is sometimes this belief that we may have that we can fix this person, and that if only I understood something a bit better, this wouldn't have happened. I just want to reassure you that as hard as it might sound, that we cannot heal this person. That's their healing is their responsibility. Okay, we are only responsible for our own actions and thoughts and beliefs, and that's the basis of this video. A really important question to ask yourself is, why did this lying hurt me so much? It sounds crazy, doesn't it? It's like, of course it hurts, especially when you've been in a long-term marriage or relationship with this person. Of course it's going to hurt. But there's some specific reasons. Some people can accept that people lie and it doesn't upset them. And they don't have this sort of visceral reaction to being lied to quite the same way. And our reaction to this is key to getting our life back, and for history not to repeat itself. So this particular point is really, really important. And it's going to require a lot of introspection, because we can say, well, that person lied, all men are lies. Don't let it spoil the rest of your life. I refuse to let that happen to me. But what I did was I took this idea of, why did it hurt me so much? What was it that made it such a feature of the relationship? And that led to a lot of deep internal inquiry work. It made me more aware of my own vulnerabilities. And when I understood what was happening, it made me less and less a match to somebody who was a pathological liar. And a long story short is actually I got my life back basically after this awful marriage. So this lying aspect was a really big issue that I had to really get to grips with. I think why it hurts so much and why we become emotionally triggered when we realise that someone has lied to us or that we've been duped to this degree is really important to recognise, and it's not something to gloss over at all. And for me, it was something that had happened to me before the marriage. It didn't just come out of the blue, right? And it helped me introspect as to why was telling the truth so important to me. Because the other thing as well is that we value truth. If lying has shown up for you in a relationship, I can tell you for sure that truth and authenticity is something that's really, really important for you. It's one of your highest values. So the fact that someone could turn up and lie with impunity, with no conscience, is a shocking experience to have to go through. But like I said before, it's something that's happened before. And what it helped me to understand was why was I so upset at somebody lying to me like this? Why was it so emotionally triggering to the degree that it was? And with some sort of special tools and lots of inner child work and trauma processing, I was able to track back this lying energy, if we want to call it like that, actually back to my family of origin. And it was one of the big aha moments that, well, you had a toxic spouse, you married a pathological liar, an A-grade narcissist, whatever you want to call them. But this energy, it was familiar for you. It was something that you were used to. And I'm quite sad to say that, unfortunately, I did come from, my family of origin was a narcissistic family system. And we could go down the rabbit hole of narcissists and why they do what they do, but the focus has got to be on our own healing. And narcissists lie. That's just what they do. And because the whole life is a lie, it's all to do with false selves and egos and fragile egos and things like that. But basically, a narcissistic parent will say things they don't mean, will say things to children they don't mean, and they'll say one thing and do another. And children understand authentic words and authentic behaviour, and they know when it's not matching. So children are aware of when somebody's not being authentic, and if it's a parent, that throws up lots of issues for the child, because children have to trust their parents. But if their parent is a narcissist or has narcissistic tendencies, it's very difficult to actually trust that person. So the child is in a stuck place because they need to trust this person, but this person is not trustworthy. And this is where the root cause of childhood trauma, of lying showing up later in life, comes from. So I hope this makes sense. I know it seems really sad and difficult, but if you can stick with this issue and really understand what happened to you, the roots of this actually do go back to childhood quite often. And I want you to reach out to your support network. I don't mean venting to people who don't know anything about this. I'm talking about reaching out to a therapist, a trauma-based therapist, who can help you navigate and process these difficult feelings. But this is why lying has shown up for you in the marriage, is to help you to understand your vulnerability here and to really start self-partnering. I'll talk about that in another video, but it's where we now have to put ourselves as number one priority, because for so long we spent so long catering to a very fragile, huge ego that was based on lies and fake personas. So it's now time to focus on ourselves. Hope that makes sense. So another really important lesson, because these really are lessons, and they're not pleasant, but they're necessary. And like I say, it's how I got my life back after dealing with this energy and having to really understand my vulnerability as a child and later in later relationships as well. And the fact that lying has shown up, we can easily fall into victim mode, and I'm not victim blaming at all, because all of this has happened to you is not your fault. Let me make that really clear. So we may have attracted it, we've done it unconsciously, but it is familiar energy for us because of how we grew up. But there's another aspect, and that is, all right, we can't account for pathological lies. A liar will lie, that's what they do, but we need to focus on ourselves. So we need to ask ourselves the question, where am I lying to myself? In what ways am I living out of sync with my own true self values? And this is a really, really important question, because it's something we've got to get clear on. And this is another reason why pathological lying has shown up for us in a relationship like this. So I'm glad you found this video, because I'm hoping that the guidance that I've shared with you is going to help you start to build your life back again better than it was before. And not only will you be able to use this data that this relationship has given you to get clear about your own values, and that you are living in accordance and in congruence with your values, and that you are, if you feel that authenticity and honesty are one of your highest core values, where in your life are you living your life in an honest and authentic way? And this is huge, isn't it? Now, for me, what made me sort of introspect on this issue was that I was so worried about other people's opinions of me, including a toxic spouse, that I would put other people's needs before my own. And that's how I was trained when I was very little in a narcissistic family system. And then I took those kind of values with me into adult relationships. But this is where we are living inauthentically. Yes, we have to have consideration for other people, of course we do. But we have to value ourselves and know that we are worthy of giving ourselves the best attention possible, and not in a sort of narcissistic way, but we have to value our own inner identities and understand what they are, and understand our vulnerabilities. And we've got to stop people pleasing, right? Because people pleasing is going to be a topic for another video, but it's part of this sort of living an authentic life or not. And if there's one thing that you take away from this video today, is this sort of this whole horrible episode that you've had to deal with in your marriage has given you pause to stop and introspect and reevaluate your own values for living, and your own, and to understand a little bit more about your vulnerabilities and to get help with this. It's easy to paper over these cracks, right? But and to sort of pick yourself up and just carry on as if, you know, and ignore the lessons of what's happened to you. And I've seen people do this, and what we risk by doing that is that history will go back on repeat. And when this happened to me, I knew that if I didn't deal with this, history would keep repeating itself. And we don't want that, do we? We want to get our amazing life back. We don't want history on repeat. We want to look at what's happened to us full on, square on, and deal with what is going on. And there are tools out there to help you. Go and look up a local trauma-informed therapist. The trauma processing tools are very effective. There's quite a lot available now. I use them with my own clients and myself. And trauma processing isn't something that needs to take years. It can take months, weeks. Okay, so that's how I got free after all of this horrible realizations of that I've married a psychopath, a narcissist, a pathological liar. I got clear of a lot of my trauma and relationship trauma in 6 months. So it's, if you take the right approach, you can get free from this forever and end those horrible toxic cycles. So that's it from me today. I hope this has been of some value for you. Just, come and say hello, pop a comment down below, and I'll see you again next time. Bye bye.